Welcome to the Leading Hope Podcast with Kevin Jack. Your influence will lead people somewhere, lead them towards hope. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.
Welcome to Leading Hope with Kevin Jack. I'm your host, VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a new and better leader. We release a new episode every Wednesday, so we'd love for you to share on social media and bring others along with us on this journey of becoming a better leader. Visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it would mean the world to us if you did that now. Also, post about it, rate and review, or both. You won't believe how that helps get this podcast into many more leaders just like you. And we're live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. So join the fun. It's been awesome to be part of this new live stuff. It's really fun, and it's been encouraging for us as well. If you have a question, add that in the chat, and we will try to get to it for you. Also, I want to just keep talking about the book, man, because it's been really cool. All the stories that we've heard about it.
So cool.
Reconstructing the Rubble. Here's a question for you. And a lot of people want to know this. Ready? I'm going to start the podcast right here.
Yeah.
Is it your only book?
Oh, I have no idea. I had no intention of ever having a book, so
Right.
the fact that I have one, I wouldn't say. Not
Right.
that smart.
Right. But that's the question people will ask. They'll
Yeah,
be like,
I have-
You wrote this book out of something that you desperately
Yeah.
wanted to write about.
I'm not going to say it's the last.
There we go. Now that's what we want to hear.
I have no intention of a second, but I'm not going to say it's the last.
That's what I like
There
to
you go.
hear. Where we go. But hey, you can go to behope.church/book to get that, and it's sold anywhere books are sold. But today we are in episode 73. And we're still in the series, Leading
Last
with a
week.
Microphone. This is the last week, and you've entitled this episode 73. You ready for this?
Yep.
5 minutes versus 40 minutes.
5 minutes versus 40 minutes.
5 versus 40.
So
40.
Today, I want to be really practical with our content and what we're jumping into. So we have been in this series leading with a microphone, saying eventually you will get the turn to speak publicly. You're not the public speaker in that moment. You have a role as a leader. Don't negate your role as a leader. And so we have kind of built the content throughout this entire series to help you, when you speak publicly, move people forward. Not just entertain. We don't want you to be boring, but how to help move people forward. And today I want to get into the nitty-gritty, into something that is incredibly practical, but I don't think ever spoken about, and that is the difference between a 5-minute talk and a 40-minute talk. And what I'm speaking of is something not impromptu, not in a moment. We spoke last week about the structure of VPS, Vision Problem Solution. That still applies, but that can be used off the cuff. I want to say, like, hey, if you're at a program, if you're at an event, if all of a sudden you're in a meeting and someone gives you a slot of time, you need to know that there are some distinct differences between being given 40 minutes or whatever that is, and a short period of time. And most people don't realize it. And so they'll end up trying to do things that can only happen in 40 minutes, or they'll treat 40 minutes like it's only 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it'll just fall completely flat. And so what I want to go through is I want to give you a couple differences and then a couple similarities between 5 minutes and 40 minutes. If you are in a church context, like you're a pastor in a church, which I know a lot of our audience is, 5 minutes is primarily when you host. So most churches will use a host, someone who does the welcome, things like that, points to a next step. That is a 5-minute segment. So you should think about this primarily in those terms, although this is broadly applicable, whether it's at a small event, you get a chance to give greetings or something like that. So first off, the differences. Your energy level should stay consistent for 5 minutes, but not for 40 minutes, okay? If you are given 5 minutes, let's say a 1 to 10 energy level, okay? Your energy should only change by 1 or 2 throughout those 5 minutes. Because if you start low and then go super high, oh man, that's not enough time to pull people with you. And it's going to seem completely pre-rehearsed and pre-structured. If you start super high and then end low, all of a sudden you've depressed everyone. You don't have room to start high, go low, and then end high. And that may be too much explanation on there. But to say, hey, if you have 5 minutes, your energy should stay about consistent. If your energy stays at the same level for 40 minutes, you are either going to bore people because you've been on the low side or completely exhaust them because you've been on the high side. In a 40-minute talk or 30-minute or whatever that longer period of time is, there should be an ebb and flow to your energy. There should be highs and lows throughout. And some people don't understand that. So just know, if you're talking for 5 minutes, whatever you come in at is about what you should stay at for the entire time. Your energy level should stay consistent for 5, but not for 40. Another unique thing about a 5-minute talk, this is kind of more of a pro tip right here. You can use video in 5 minutes, but not 40 minutes. You can use videos in 5 minutes, but you shouldn't use them for 40 minutes. And I will almost never use a full video. I may use a video as a background, no audio, so that I've got something to point to, but I will almost never use an entire video within the course of the message. And this is why. Video is more interesting than a person. It just is. Because of the way the sound can be put together, the way in which cuts and edits and fades and all the different effects that can come with a video. If you use a video in a talk, what you have done is you have created a high point in that talk, which is the video, because they're so much more engaging. And then when it goes back to you, all of a sudden you aren't that interesting. And I don't know anyone who's ever said, I want to give a talk where I am the low point of the entire thing.
Not good.
No, not good. But in a does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
A lot of people I see use photos, use background, tell stories, but don't use videos. Please don't use videos. But in a 5-minute talk, you can use a video. And the reason why you can use a video is because your energy stays consistent. So you can come in at the same level as the video. You can come out at the same level as the video. And because your time is so short, people are still listening to what you have to say. If you have been talking for 30 minutes and then you show a video and then you try to talk for another 10 minutes, people have already tuned out because you're so much less interesting than the video was. So you can use a video in 5 minutes, but not for 40. If you're speaking to an outside group, you should introduce yourself right at the beginning of 5 minutes, but not for 40. Now, I say that as an outside group being people who don't know you. If there's people who know you, you don't need to introduce yourself. That's not a big deal. But if you're talking for 5 minutes, introduce yourself right at the very beginning. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm here from so-and-so. Let me talk to you about this. Jump straight into it. But if it's a 40-minute talk, do not waste your intro, which is one of the things we covered in a previous episode. Don't waste your intro on introducing yourself. Start with a bang. Start with something that will grab attention. And I assure you, your introduction is not the thing that grabs attention, unless if you've got like this crazy story, like,
Right.
hey, I'm Bill so-and-so. I was stranded on Mount Everest for 12 days. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Bill? My goodness. But if that's not your story, don't introduce yourself at the beginning, okay? And that's just a subtle difference that people don't seem to understand on how 5 and 40 minutes are different. Now, let me give you a couple similarities that we're walking through. First off, ready? You should prepare. You should prepare. Whether you're talking for 5 minutes or 40, you should prepare.
Solid.
Now, we've talked about this in the past of saying, like, when someone says, oh, I'm just going to wing it, or church talk, I'm going to see where the Spirit leads me. Like, well, the Spirit's about to lead me right out of the room because I'm not wasting my time on what you're making up. And that was that too rough? That felt too
I'm not
rough.
sure what it was, but
Are people logging off?
I think I understand your point.
Okay, thank you. BJ understands.
Prepare.
Yeah. And so I think most people understand, hey, if it's 30 or 40 minutes or an hour or whatever that is, yes, I need to prepare ahead of time. But then they think in 5 minutes they can just wing it. That is not the case. So I hope I'll explain this correctly. a 5-minute talk requires a greater level of preparation for the time that you've been given than a 40-minute talk.
Wow.
Because you don't have time to blow a transition. You can't misread the audience and make up for it by telling a story. If you've only got 5 minutes, you have to nail it what is pre-scripted. So I don't do the host portion in our church often, but when I do, I write it out. And some people think that's crazy. They're like, we get up there and you talk every week for 40, 50 minutes. You don't write that all out. No, because I've got room to recover. I don't have to be as precise in my language. But when it's 5 minutes, I know exactly what I'm going to say because I don't have that room to recover. And so I just think that's so important. You should prepare on both of them, and your level of preparation for the time that you've been given should be greater for 5 minutes than 40 minutes. And then last piece on the similarities is you should use the VPS. Vision, problem, solution, the structure that we talked about last time. Don't order your talk introduction, point 1, point 2, point 3, conclusion. Order your talk vision, problem, solution. If you're giving announcements, vision, problem, solution. So let's say we have a class that we do called Hope Unleashed. We don't say, hey, Hope Unleashed, it's the first 3 Sundays of every single month. You should really come to this. It'll show you this and this and this. You may have been struggling with these things in your life. No, what I just did is I said what it is, why it matters, and how it may help. No, I come with like, you have a call on your life. Your life matters. That's vision.
Yeah.
The problem is our calling gets buried. We forget who we are. We lose our sense of purpose, and passion dies over time. Hope Unleashed is designed to help you claim identity, clarify purpose, and restore the passion that you have for your life. Come to it. It's the first 3 Sundays of every month.
It's good.
Vision, problem, solution. So whether it's 5 minutes or 40 minutes, you should use the VPS. And so there are so many more differences between 5 minutes and 40 minutes than we've jumped into here. But these are the cardinal sins that I see people making over and over again because they don't understand, hey, the medium is different, the time is different, what you can do is different. So quick recap, the differences. Your energy level should stay consistent for 5 minutes, not 40. You can use video in 5 minutes, but not 40. If you're speaking to an outside group, introduce yourself at the beginning for 5 minutes, not 40. But no matter how long your time is, you should prepare and you should structure it for people to move vision, problem, solution.
Man, there's a ton there. That's really good stuff. The thing that, what I wanted to start with right away was talking about the video. I think that was an interesting piece because we've had multiple conversations, not just you and I, but just as a strategy of videos and for all different kinds of reasons to use or to not use video in whatever we're trying to accomplish the end goal. But you're saying don't use the video. Now, are you saying all video or are you saying specific types of video? So if you wanted to show your point about something, it can be quick clips of video, but it can't be extended.
For 40 minutes?
No. Pieces. Can you use video in your 40-minute talk?
So this is what I will do.
Where can you and where can't you?
If I'm giving a 40-minute talk, I will use a video as a background that I can talk over.
Yeah, okay.
But I will almost never, ever, and here's the funny thing.
That's good.
Is I did just recently use a video in the structure of the message, but coming out of the video, I had 3 minutes. I had the band behind me.
Yeah.
And that was like perfectly designed. And so I will never in the middle of my talk say, hey, I've got this cool video that meant a lot to me. Because people love that. There's like, oh, that's amazing. And then it comes back to me and I'm like, I would say it like this. I hate starting a talk out of a video.
Yeah.
Because the medium itself is more engaging than a live person.
Yeah.
So it's like we have this amazing video, graphics, sound effects, everything else. And it's like, hey.
Wow. That's something.
It's good to see you guys. You just set yourself up for failure.
So I think you hit it right on the head with where that needs to live. And I didn't realize it till just now, is that if the video aids you by you describing the video and talking about the video, even if the video is your kids running down the hallway doing something stupid, but it's funny, use it, but talk over and explain it, because now it's actually aiding you instead of it trying to take away or distract
If
from.
I'm able, that's a good point.
Yeah.
If I'm able to interact with the video,
Yes.
it doesn't overtake.
Yeah.
But if I cut to the video,
Right.
and it's only that, then it does.
Then you're done. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally. That's so good. So and that's what pictures can't do, right? Pictures generally, there's maybe an moment, but they can't really remove the moment that you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Great. I wanted to make sure that we understood that, the clear part of that. You also said only 5 minutes. You better be prepared.
Oh my goodness! If anyone takes anything away, it should be that.
That's a really good note, especially for someone like me. But here's the real powerful thing that you probably need to help everyone, including myself and everyone on staff here, really live into, is that if you have the 5 minutes and you prepare, what are some of those preparation pro tips to help people prepare for that 5 minutes like they need to?
Oh yeah. So let me say how I prepare 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
I write it out. I will practice it a couple times, and then I'll throw it away, and I won't try to memorize the script.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's important because I don't want, when I get up there, for it to feel rehearsed. So I'm not walking up there going, all right, so let me explain like the science of what you've done.
Yep.
When you have written it, that is a way in which people learn is tactile, like you're going through that.
Yep.
When I've spoken it, all of a sudden that's verbal. That's another method, learning style that people have.
Yep.
And so when I'm doing those, I am creating pathways in my brain that remembers the content. So when I get up there, I'm not trying to memorize it because all of a sudden that feels lifeless and rehearsed.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to speak it, but I am trusting that my brain already has those pathways created for the content that'll help me get through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It helps me stay on focused. It helps me stay clear, but it keeps me from appearing dead and mechanical and rehearsed.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're going to write it, you're going to review it, you're going to practice it, and then you're chucking it.
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
I just get up there and I say what I feel like I need to say.
Yeah, but you've already got that internal monologue that's moving through that you know.
Dead on.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a great note for everyone. Man, I am pumped for that. I've got to do that.
Well, and here's a funny thing is there are some people, younger pastors, younger leaders, they disregard the significance of 5 minutes because they want 40 minutes.
Yes, it's crazy.
Let me throw it on you. If you can't be faithful with 5 minutes, ain't nobody ever going to trust you with 40 minutes.
That's
what
powerful.
you do with 5 minutes matters.
Woo! Yeah, that's powerful, and such a great tip too. Let's talk a little bit about energy levels.
Woo!
Yeah, let's talk about that because it's so important. But you made a great point that you can't be coming in hot and staying hot for 40 minutes.
No.
Can you for 5 minutes?
You absolutely must if you
must.
come in hot.
Okay.
And I would say that your energy level should probably come across higher in a 5 minute. So let's say if a 40-minute talk, your default is a 6, you better come in at an 8
Oh, okay.
because you got less time.
Yeah.
But you don't have room for the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You don't have room for all that. And so you need to, for the most part, stay at that same energy level.
So that's a great, yeah, I agree. So here's a good question then for me to understand for your 40-minute piece. Are you know it needs to dip, you know it needs to be brought back to life, and it has the ebb and flow as you call it. Describe what your process is, your practices to make sure that you're actually accomplishing that.
To make sure that in a 40-minute talk that
you're
I
not,
actually
you're
have an ebb
dropping
and
those
flow.
levels between a 6 and an 8 in back to,
Yeah.
What are you doing to make sure that you're doing that? Outside of last week, which you described, I'm actually, you're looking for the nod to make sure that you're getting through the vision, the problem, the solution, but also knowing that inside of each of those blocks, you actually have to move it a little bit to get the nod.
Yeah, so I would say it like this, that naturally flows if you, this is in addition to the VPS structure. Okay. So within the VPS structure, there are still moments in which you introduce information, explain complex information, create sticky statements around that information, and then call people to action from that information. I mean, it sounds like I made that off the cuff, but I did not. This is how I structure my information.
Oh, yeah.
I'm introducing it. I'm explaining. I'm creating distinctions between them. I'm creating sticky statements around it, and I'm calling people to action. You cannot explain I realize it was the second one. I can't do that. You cannot explain complex information at a level 10.
Yeah.
You have to dip your level. The sticky statements also can't be at a level 10. The call to action better be at a level 10.
Yeah.
And introducing the information can be. It doesn't have to be. So say, as you navigate the content and you dive into the depth of the content that you have, there has to be a natural flow of your energy in order to walk through that.
That's fantastic. That's great. I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Let's wrap up episode 73, 5 minutes versus 40 minutes. What you got?
Yeah, don't prep a 5-minute talk the same way you would a 40-minute talk, but please prep a 5-minute talk. Don't just wing it because you're used to longer periods of time because the time matters. So know the differences and use them to accomplish the goals that you need to accomplish as a leader who is speaking publicly, not just a public speaker.
Also, I just want to make sure you guys know that the book is still out at all stores. You can go to behope.church/book to find that, Reconstructing the Rubble. It's been awesome to hear all your stories about that. So keep those coming in as well. And thank you for joining us today. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it would mean the world to us if you did that now. Also, rate it, review it, subscribe to it. It's been awesome to see how people keep getting this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you. We love hearing your stories of everything that's happening in your lives and businesses. Send that to us. Go to leadinghope.online and send that to us. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.